From Recorded Future News and PRX, this is Click Here. It was an early spring morning, and federal agents and windbreakers had fanned out across the country. In a dozen different cities, they busted down doors, seized computers, and began yanking cords from the walls. It was 1990. One of the first major crackdowns on digital crime in the U.S. was in the process of unfolding. Agents were rolling up hackers for credit card fraud and for stealing dial-up long distance. Arizona prosecutor Gail Thackeray announced the law enforcement action at a major press conference.
We are experiencing a crime wave in the computer area that is just astronomical. We can't keep up. Nobody who's working in this field can keep up.
They called it Operation Sun Devil, and to the government, it was a bold strike on an emerging frontier, computer crime. To hackers, it felt like war, not just on bulletin boards and modems, but on their very identity, their culture, their way of life. So the last thing anyone expected was, just 3 years later, to have Gail the prosecutor appear as a special guest at a hacker conference.
We invited her to speak at the very first DEF CON and tell us about how does computer crime prosecutions actually work.
I'm Dina Temple-Raston, and this is Click Here's Mic Drop, a longer listen to one of our favorite interviews of the week. On Tuesday, we talked with Jeff Moss, the founder of DEF CON, about a hacker party in Vegas that became a global stage for cyber policy. Today, we focus on DEF CON's unexpected and uneasy dance with law enforcement, and how it's changed everything about the way we think about crime, power, and trust in the digital age. Stay with us.
This show is supported by Odoo. When you buy business software from lots of vendors, the costs add up and it gets complicated and confusing. Odoo solves this. It's a single company that sells a suite of enterprise apps that handles everything from accounting to inventory to sales. Odoo is all connected on a single platform in a simple and affordable way. You can save money without missing out on the features you need. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
Support for Click Here comes from the Electronic Frontier Foundation. For 35 years, the EFF has been fighting to make sure that when you go online, your rights go with you. And they have a podcast. It's called How to Fix the Internet. And it's all about getting things right in our online world. Season 6 kicked off May 7th with an episode exploring the concept of digital autonomy. The fight for digital rights is bigger and more urgent than ever. EFF is at the forefront of that battle. And because it's member-supported, the more members they have, the more they can fight for our digital rights in state houses, in courthouses, and everywhere. Visit EFF.org/podcast to listen to How to Fix the Internet and join EFF. I'm Dina Temple-Raston, and this is Click Here's Mic Drop. In 1993, when Jeff Moss was planning the hacker meetup that would eventually become DEF CON, inviting prosecutor Gail Thackeray was counterintuitive, to say the least. She'd helped shutter bulletin board systems, seize computers, and led investigations into hacker crimes. And now, here she was, standing in front of the very people she'd once targeted.
Okay. I want to set some ground rules, mostly for your sake, okay? I am not here to gather information to bust you. And in order to help me not do that, I'm going to ask that you not commit any felonies in front of me, okay?
It could have backfired, and for a moment, it almost did.
When she was giving the talk, somebody she was prosecuting from that is in the audience, which led to some awkwardness.
But Gail wasn't there to make arrest. She was there to help hackers understand the law.
I think some of you really do want some guidance as to where society is drawing rules that can get you in trouble. and I'll be happy to share what I know with you.
Because computers, and by extension, computer-related crimes, were still so new, both hackers and law enforcement were still working out what was legal and what was not. And that confusion led to a lot of misinformation. Misinformation that could get hackers in trouble.
You've got to put this disclaimer on the front page of your bulletin board that says, no law enforcement allowed to log in. And if they do, that's entrapment. And then you're safe. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, how can anybody, like the mafia just puts out on the door to like their secret mafia headquarters and no undercover police can come in? Like, that doesn't seem like it's, no, that's totally how it works.
He tried to dissuade hacker buddies about these things, but they wouldn't listen. So he asked Gail to settle it.
And first thing she's like, nope, doesn't work. It's like, yes, I told you. But because she's the one saying it.
And she didn't hold back.
The legal advice that comes over the board, many of you have an absolutely abysmal picture of what your rights and your risks are, because I will tell you, drug dealers get better legal advice than you give each other.
After the talk, she stuck around, held informal panels, took questions, and it all helped set the tone for DEF CON, one where the underground and the officialdom could meet, if not as friends, then at least face to face.
I'd love to say that there was some master plan of mine. Like, I wasn't thinking that this would lead to this more collegial interaction between the different worlds of hackers and law enforcement and intelligence.
But it did. That fragile detente would hold for nearly 2 decades. It even gave rise to a DEF CON tradition, a game called Spot the Fed, in which attendees would try to identify, just by looking, who in the crowd was likely working for the federal government. It was all in good fun until one keynote that went terribly awry. That's after the break. Stay with us.
At Radiolab, we love nothing more than nerding out about science, neuroscience, chemistry.
But we do also like to get into other kinds of stories. Stories about policing or
Politics,
country music,
hockey,
sex, of bugs.
Regardless of whether we're looking at science or not science, we bring a rigorous curiosity to get you the answers.
And hopefully make you see the world anew.
Radiolab, adventures on the edge of what we think we know.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
In 2012, the keynote speaker at DEF CON wasn't a hacker. It was this guy.
I'd like to give a warm welcome to General Alexander. Thanks, Jet.
General Keith Alexander, director of the NSA, wearing jeans and a black T-shirt.
First of all, him in a black T-shirt. I mean...
Yeah, I told him you've got to wear jeans or something. You can't wear a suit. Like, that would not work well. Like, you've got to, like, at least try to fit in a little bit.
Did you invited him, or how did it work? Do you remember?
No, I think somebody from the NSA reached out and said they were interested. And I was like, are you sure about this? Like, this is a pretty big risk, because if it goes sideways, it's going to look really bad for you and for me.
You understand what's going on. I had...
On stage, Alexander struck a friendly tone.
This community, better than anyone, understands where this is going and what we need to do to help our nation and our allies fix this. We can sit on the sidelines and let others who don't understand this space tell us what they're going to do, or we can help by educating and informing them on the best strategy forward that benefits all of us and our nation. And that's the real reason that I came here, to solicit your support. Because from my perspective, if we had everybody in this room for a few weeks working together on this, we could solve many of those issues.
And then they kind of used it to try to recruit people from our community to help the country.
How did you feel about that?
It's kind of flattering that they thought that we would have something. And if you don't like it, don't respond to it.
And then Jeff asked a question.
So does the NSA really keep a file on everyone? And if so, how can I see mine? Because I'm really curious to see what's in it.
Those who would want to weave the story that we have millions or hundreds of millions of dossiers on people is absolutely false.
Except, well, it wasn't. Not exactly. Because just a year later, as you'll probably remember, an NSA contractor named Edward Snowden released classified documents that suggested the NSA had a massive surveillance operation, and it included Americans.
It turns out stuff that was said that they didn't have these dossiers on Americans turns out to be false. And now it's like, oh, he lied to us. Like, at our show, lied to us. We can't have him back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you burn that bridge, and people were, not just that, but the civil liberty, and a lot of people were really upset.
So that year, DEF CON made a request.
We told the feds, don't come, please. Like, take a year off. And that
Really?
caused a whole vortex of, we need a cooling off period. I know undercover feds still attended, but it was not in the public.
But Jeff did still engage with the feds, just on a more personal level. He was on an advisory council for the Secretary of Homeland Security on cyber issues. And it turned out DHS found it helpful to hear from someone who was removed from government, who not only understood the issues, but was a hacker himself. Like, at one point, he raised something that had been bothering him for a while.
I was talking to someone there, and they were just starting to get more engaged in cyber. And I said, how come we don't ever name our adversaries? Like, we never name China. Like, why don't we name the people attacking us? All the companies know it's China. That's not a secret, right? We know it's China. They know it's China. They know that we know. Like, this whole thing's going on. But the government never says it's China.
He thought maybe there was some national security reason they didn't do it. Maybe some diplomatic reason.
And they said, that's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that before. No, there's no real reason.
6 months later, everything changed. The Obama administration did something no U.S. government had done before. They called China out, publicly, accusing its military of launching cyber attacks on American political targets.
In the summer of 2008, the FBI discovered that both the Obama and McCain campaign computers were under sustained attack.
This was political cyber espionage by the Chinese government against the two American political parties.
In that moment, when the U.S. pointed a finger and hackers raised their voices, something else started to shift. This wasn't just about pushing the government away anymore. It was about proving hackers had something to offer, if anyone was willing to listen.
And that was also the beginning of this idea sort of that, technology and hacking is political or has political consequences. So we should probably try to participate in more of these venues. And over time, that gained currency.
A few years later, DEF CON launched something new, a policy track. It was part salon, part detente. A geek-wonk bridge where both sides, hackers and the feds who chased them, could talk policy. Not just in hallway whispers, but in rooms designed for candor, off the record, on the level. And to some surprise, hackers actually showed up.
If you don't have a seat at the table and decisions are being made, the decisions might be made against you. Because you can't represent yourself. It wasn't like you're a sellout for talking to the man. It became like, good thing somebody's talking to the man.
Because the man doesn't understand without us.
Right. We really need to have our seat at the table before they make weird, misinformed decisions, right? And that's why we really started leaning.
It's a long way from bulletin boards and burner phones, from being chased to being invited. The story of DEF CON and Jeff Moss isn't just about hackers crashing the gates. It's about what happens when the gatekeepers invite people in to keep the digital world from breaking our analog one. From Recorded Future News, this has been Click Here's Mic Drop. It was written and produced by Megan Dietrich, Sean Powers, Erica Gaida, Zach Hirsch, Lucas Riley, and me, Dina Temple-Raston. It was edited by Karen Duffin. We'll be back on Tuesday with an all-new episode of Click Here. Have a great weekend.
Looking for more of the cybersecurity and intelligence coverage you get on Click Here? Then check out our sister publication, The Record, from Recorded Future News. You'll get breaking cyber news from reporters in New York, Washington, London, and Kyiv, among others. And you'll see for yourself why it attracts hundreds of thousands of page views every month. Just go to therecord.media.